Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. We are in Oregon. We just got done hiking into Sparks Lake. The road is still a little too snowy and there's a bunch of down trees, so we couldn't get there. This video is not going to be construction related. So about 3 weeks ago, I got stranded up at Johnston Ridge Observatory and my car is still there.
He laughs because this large debris-filled landslide wiped out a section of the highway, leaving the 12 stranded until help could arrive.
You know, the camaraderie was there. Everybody kind of had a good sense of humor about it.
The next morning, a rescue helicopter from the King County Sheriff's Office arrived to fly them all out.
Oh man, what a great experience. So anyway, the Subaru will just be left here. Who knows when it's coming back? So I'm gonna get the registration.
While Tim left his Subaru
car last night. And here is the current state of affairs. That's right. The road washed out, which means the only way out of Johnston Ridge Observatory is by helicopter.
Unfortunate timing, right? A beautiful outing to really take your camera out and get these beautiful photos. But unfortunately, that beautiful outing turned into a disaster because of that landslide that you just saw. So this trapped photographers atop the infamous Mount St. Helens in Washington. What would you do? I mean, you go out there because you're a photographer. You want to capture these beautiful night skies. I mean, look at the landscape there. But then you're stuck because you were in the wrong place at the wrong time. Photographer Tim Euler joins us live now this morning from Washington State. Tim, this is quite the tale. I'm sure you have many of them because you are a photographer. You probably have seen quite a lot creating your beautiful art. But what was this like? I mean, how did everything go down?
It's just one of those things. It was the first really nice night that we had with no clouds. The road to Johnston Ridge Observatory was open for about a week. It's one of the great locations to shoot astrophotography, you know, the Milky Way specifically. And so it was like, let's head up there on a Sunday. Beautiful, like unseasonably warm. Started out quite beautiful.
And when did you know that it had escalated? It wasn't just a little issue that you were going to have to get creative, but you were going to have to sleep out in the wilderness because of everything that happened.
Yeah, there was a few of us that planned on being there all night, and we're kind of used to that. But about, I think, maybe 8:45, 9 o'clock, just a little after sunset, usually we'll just go sit in the cars and read or sleep until the Milky Way comes up, like maybe around 12:30. And then all of a sudden, 4 cars come back up the road that were tourists that had just left. And they said, there's no way we're getting out. And they were already on the phone with emergency services. And the one individual had a little bit of cell phone footage. So we knew that it was bad enough that we weren't getting out that night. But until it got light the next day, we didn't really know. And until I drove down and took the drone footage, it was like, whoa, we are not getting out by car.
Yeah, speaking of cars, where is your car, Tim?
It is at the parking lot at Johnston Ridge Observatory with 6 other cars. And we're told that we're likely not going to be able to get to them until next summer.
Next summer?
Wow.
Yeah. So what's the plan here? I mean, what are your options? I mean, it's one thing to be caught in an unfortunate situation, maybe a couple of days, but you're talking about not having your vehicle for a long time.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, right? What are we going to do?
Yeah,
But,
I mean, there's nothing you can do
work-
about it, really.
No, the only option we have is potentially partnering with like a helicopter company to come out and maybe just lift them right off of the parking lot and down the mountain. It only needs to go about 2 miles. And there's companies in the area that do that. So we're kind of working some back channels to see if that's a possibility.
12 of us and a dog had to be rescued by helicopter. The road washed out. So anyway, we didn't plan on taking the Tesla all the way here to Oregon, but we did. So this video is just gonna kind of just be a little bit about our trip to Oregon. I mean, good Lord, look at Broken Top. And what it's like to drive the Tesla from basically Seattle to Bend, Oregon. You know, charging, how much do we pay for charging, that whole thing. I will say this right off the bat. I have never loved a car in my life until the Tesla. We did not purchase this because of any political statement. Quite frankly, the money we save on gas just goes to insurance because it's pretty expensive for insurance. I would do it again in a heartbeat. I love this car. So anyway, hope you enjoy the video. And welcome back to the channel. Did I even need to say that? That was quite the intro. Okay, so I'm going to intersperse talking about the Tesla Model Y along with some of the highlights of our trip to Central Oregon. We have been going to Bend, Oregon since I was a little kid. What you're looking at right here is our hike up Misery Ridge around Smith Rock State Park. It is called one of Oregon, 7 Wonders of Oregon. We go every year. I absolutely adore this hike. Now, the thing is, this time of year, everything's super green. Although off in the distance on the left, that was a prescribed burn. Yeah, you want to go to Central Oregon before wildfire season. Anyway, we went up and over, down. This is along the river, the Cricket River. This is a mecca for hiking. A few years back, I went there at night for sunset. There was a guy slacklining. He literally ran down and caught up with me by the time I hiked out in flip-flops. He was in the military. Anyway, anytime we go for a hike, we go back to Deschutes Brewery. We split the elk burger. I got a hazy IPA there, and then we split the peanut butter pie. Tradition. Nikki and I have lots of traditions, always looking to make new ones. Okay, so I charged. We're at 94%. That's not normally what I would do, but we don't really feel like driving around finding chargers. There's a destination charger here in Sun River. Scout, you're ready to go. So basically the destination charger is just like our Tesla wall charger at home, except that it's free at the resort, so we charge there as much as possible. When I go to the gym in the morning, I park. Since I'm at the gym a couple hours, I can add about 80 miles. So we supercharged last night to get it close, drove around a little bit, and then I plugged it in this morning. I knew we were going to go on a little bit of a road trip today, so I just went ahead and bumped it to 94. There's no reason for 94. Normally we're charging to 90. It's where my finger swiped on the app. So I was aiming for 95.
Bye. Cute girl.
So I'll come back to it a little bit more throughout the video, and as we go through, like how much money do we spend on charging, but we are up in the mountains a lot. That's why we drive the Subaru. This time it was like, well, let's just see how the EV does. As we go down the hill, you can see on the map there, I have it in autosteer, so that sets the cruise control and it keeps you centered in the lane. My hands are on the wheel loosely, and I'm just letting the car turn its way down the hill. It's Tesla has like versions full, self-driving, beta, autosteer, autopilot, all that, whatever. You could look that up.
I don't like that at all.
This is
That's why I was like,
I don't know, it did not feel good out of control.
It's going. I mean, it's doing it. Thank you for the bright line.
Does it see the curve?
So it is pretty trippy as you go into the corners at 55 miles an hour. You can see the speed there on the left. You can also see the curves coming up, and we're heading down to Sparks Lake. I just absolutely adore this place. More on that in a few minutes. Pretty good sized corners, right? This road had only been open for a week and a half, so still lots of snow. But it's like, hey, let's test it, let's film it, let's turn this trip into a how did it go driving the Tesla from Seattle to Bend and down into Sun River? What was it like charging? All that good stuff like I mentioned at the beginning. Fully transparent here. The real reason for this video is just to share this trip. The Cascade Lake Scenic Byway, that's South Sister right there. We have hiked up and around that to Green Lakes and back. It's about 9 miles once you go way in the back. It is a great lake to swim in with no clothes on in the summertime. Just what I've heard. So we just wanted a road trip around. This is the river that comes out by Sparks. That is Devil's Lake. Beautiful, beautiful green, right? Just absolutely stunning. Always have to get out. That lake is really cold. I tried swimming in it. It's great to paddleboard and canoe, but swimming in it in the summertime, even in August, it is so cold. I mean, it comes right out of the snowmelt behind where the camera's at. It comes across. So this day, like everybody headed up there. Nobody's swimming, right? Paddleboarder in the background, and then kayakers here. Just tons of people heading out from Bend.
Keep it water.
Okay, here is our first time taking it out of chill mode and into sport mode.
All right. Ready?
Yep. Holy cow! Oh my gosh.
Holy cow! Oh my gosh.
I was not expecting that.
I know, my head
Yikes.
wasn't even on
Sorry,
the
love.
headrest. Just like against the thing.
Okay.
Okay, baby.
I don't want to drive except in chill mode. I wish there was a camera facing us. Holy cow.
Okay, so I'm not exactly wanting to be going quite that fast. So we're gonna go back into chill mode. All right, are we ready?
Yeah.
So this is the Tesla Model Y Performance Edition. You do take a hit on range, about 30 miles. But it's got the nice big black wheels. We got it earlier. What you're seeing here on the graph is as we head back into Bend from Sparks Lake, the hills, basically it's regenerative braking. So notice at the top left, I have 221 miles, but the computer's projecting on the right that we're gonna end up with 228 miles. So we're actually putting mileage back into the motors, or into the battery more specifically. So I'm gonna come back to this in just a moment. This is just the highlights. I mean, I am not a Tesla fanboy, not a big fan of Elon, frankly, but sure love that car. So this was the hike into Sparks. Now we're at Sparks and we are alone. So this is all lava, right? You can see it there, South Sister. That's the old lava flow. You go hiking up past that to get up to Green Lakes, and then it's Broken Top on the right. Okay, it is 1.7 miles in. We walked. There's no way we could have got the car in there. The snow wasn't so bad. It was just a bunch of trees that had fallen over, like this guy, and too big to pull off to the side. So we walked. We didn't need snowshoes. Behind me, that is Broken Top. That is South Sister. So it is just Nikki and me. There's nobody else here. If I die, my ashes will be scattered here at Sparks Lake, but I'm not going to die. But I'm just saying, this is where, if I was to die, this is where my ashes would go. We love this place. I don't even know how many times we've been here. This is the earliest that we have. I mean, the Cascade Lake Scenic Byway is open, but the road in isn't, so there's nobody around. Especially this early on a Saturday. It's only like maybe 9 o'clock, and it's warm in the sun. It's probably 50 degrees. So here, let me get out of the video. Nobody wants to look at that. When they could look at that. So we bought this car back in February, got it in March, and in 10 weeks we have put almost 6,000 miles on the car. Multiple trips to Oregon, Seattle, now this trip, which I really didn't want to put the mileage on it.
We did it. We were actually here.
This couple came down the road behind us. They were able to get around most of the trees, but then there was a couple there was no way. So they just went ahead and unpacked their kayaks and put them in the water. So they had the lake to themselves. We had the trails to ourselves. Just a perfect day. Just absolutely beautiful. Okay, to go back to the cost for charging versus gas, and again, this is just our experience. We've had the car for about 10 weeks, and we have put 6,000 miles on the car. Multiple trips to Oregon, Eastern Washington, Spokane, trips to Seattle. In this case, over 1,000 miles down to Bend and back, driving around the mountains. So here is what we have paid total for charging. $295. Of that, it was about $153 in charging at home, and about $142, I round up $153 in supercharging. But then we find all kinds of places that we can charge for free, like at the resort or at the hotel when we went to Spokane. Okay, so right behind me, that is a Tesla destination charger. Well, that one doesn't work, and that one does, or vice versa, whatever. But we are plugged in because we're just going to go to the pool. Quick walk over there, charge at about 35 miles an hour until it's back up to 90%, and then we can go wherever we want. Oh yeah, and it's free. So look for destination chargers whenever possible. Okay, a couple hours at the pool, and we are fully charged for free. Giddy up. So in your Tesla app, or even on the trip computer there, you can press the charging button and you can find destination chargers. Now that does not include any of the level 2 charging you might find through utilities. So all over Lake Chelan, there was charging at the winery, at a hotel, and then right downtown, and it's provided free by the local utility. So we have spent a total of $295 on charging for the same amount of mileage, and we're about $4.50 a gallon here. We would have spent $1,000 on gasoline. So right now we're sitting at around a $700 savings. Earlier in the video I mentioned that basically that extra cost just goes into the insurance. I was wrong. I was like, nope, not even close. You know, maybe pay an extra $80 a month in insurance. So we're saving. That's not the reason we bought the car. We wanted to go EV as our second car. We have the Subaru that's trapped on the mountain. That's our adventure mobile. It's all-wheel drive. It's got the tent. That's where we go and go camping. This was going to be a commuter car and just something that we enjoyed driving. I had no idea just how much I would love this car. And just to try it out, this is the mobile connector. We just went ahead and plugged it into 120. We could only charge at 4 miles per hour. But you know, if we just left it overnight, we got the mileage that we needed. We wanted to leave at 90%. We typically charge to 80% as daily commute. When we go on trips, we charge to 90 or 95. You want to be able to use the regenerative braking. So there's no reason to go to 100%. So what was it like driving down? We stopped to charge 2 times each way. Normally we would stop once for gas. We've done this trip like 1,000 times. So we stop in Kelso because you can look on the Tesla app on the monitor there, and you can actually see what it will cost per kilowatt hour. So it's a little bit cheaper. I forget what it is, 20-something cents, 21 cents per kilowatt hour down in Kelso. So we stop and charge there. Then we supercharge again in Madras, and then we go ahead and drive on into Sun River. On the way back, we skipped Madras, we charged in Sandy, and then we went ahead and charged at Kelso and then drove home. And so basically, if you charge a little more often, you're there for less time. Superchargers are almost always placed in places where you can get coffee. There's one at Panera Bread there in Kelso. Get up, walk the dog. I mean, this is what we do anyway if you have kids or pets. So it didn't really add any time. Maybe it added a half an hour, 40 minutes in round numbers to a 6-hour trip. Not a big deal. So thank you for watching the video. This, by the way, is White River Falls. It's an old hydroelectric plant. The equipment in the abandoned building at the bottom, there's the dam up above, has a 1901 stamp on it when I went in there. What you're looking at here was the last video that I got with my Mavic 3 before I hit a power line and killed my Mavic 3. So anyway, it's just been kind of one of those springs between a car being stuck and my Mavic 3 being killed. Oh well. Hope you enjoyed the video. We absolutely have loved being able to share our trip to Sun River, and of course, we just love the Tesla. You know, whatever you want to say about EVs and whatever your particular views are, if you drive this car, I guarantee you're going to have a blast. Thanks for watching, everybody.